Hey guys, it's Japs, and today we're going to review the Martin Dreadnought Jr. Okay, first things first, this is not a specs review. I will not be telling you what it is all about the guitar, what kind of wood and stuff, and what strings. This is my user experience of the guitar as a musician. Quick story, when my dad was asking me advice on what guitar he should get, I told him he should get a legit guitar and make things easier for you. I didn't know that he's gonna get a Martin. He was eyeing for a Taylor GS Mini. GS Mini was unavailable when he came there. He was too late, and the only thing that's left is this one, and he got lucky. First impressions, I love the size of it. I think it's the perfect size for gigging, busking, touring, just bringing along outside at the beach or whatever, family gatherings, singing around the campfire, and especially playing with a band. If you're like a singer-songwriter and you're going to sing as you're playing the guitar, regular guitars would be much bigger, so your hand would be here, or much thicker, so it would be here. One of the things that my dad said he wants on his guitar is it's easy to play, because he's not a pro and he wants to be able to play for long periods of time. So in my mind, I immediately thought short scale guitar. And the thing about short scale guitars is it has less tension on the strings. Even me, I haven't played guitar. I don't really play guitar that much, but I'm not easily fatigued in this guitar. Some other guitars are harder to play. It's just like more tension on the strings, and you need more callus to be able to play it. This one is pretty easy for beginners and those who don't have calluses yet. It's effortless to play. The fret spacing. This one, even though it's short scale, I can still fit 3 fingers in one fret, but it's narrow enough that some of the wider extended chords is easier, although the neck thickness kind of makes up for it. I guess for acoustic guitar this is thin. Yeah, so the combination of those things with it having a very nice low action, being a short scale, it's just very easy to play. Now, the downside of having that smaller body is, of course, you're not gonna get as much bass from the guitar. Even if you a bigger body would be more able to generate bass than a smaller body. That's just the way acoustics go. Now, having said that, I think that this instrument having less bass makes it sit better with the band when you have a bass player or other instruments. Well, of course, if you're missing that bass, that little bass that is gone, you can always EQ it. But as I listen to the examples that I have, when you mic it up or plug it in, it sounds fine. It's just that you feel with a bigger guitar, you feel that bass, that resonance. There is a smaller version of this, which is the Little Martin. I think it's the Little Martin, their answer to the Baby Taylor. But I mean, the size is great because it's small, but the sound is just too thin. I think this is a happy medium where it can still look cool, it still looks serious. I mean, those baby things still sounds good, but just on the top end, bass just suffers a lot. So it's pros and cons with these things. To me, I think this is the perfect size of guitar if you're not a soloist. Now, if you're a fingerstyle player, the string spacing is quite narrow on this guitar. I had an adjustment period, although that narrow spacing bodes well for my left hand because Thickness of the neck is okay. I would prefer maybe a thinner neck, but it's okay. The nut is cut very well. I don't know if it was cut like this from the factory or previous owner messed with it, but it feels nice. I want to comment on the frets that they used for this guitar. I don't know how much action this guitar has seen, but probably not much yet. But the frets are starting to wear. I can see the wear on the frets here, the first and the second frets. I don't know how long these frets will last. Maybe like in 1 to 2 years. Let's just say let's be generous with 3 years of constant use in church and in practice. Maybe this will wear out and will need to be refretted in 3 years time. Now let me talk about the sound. Well, of course it's a Martin, so enough said. It's a good sounding guitar. Is that it has that Martin signature warm sound, if you know what I mean. GS Mini sounds a little bit brighter, and this sounds a little bit warmer. Now, I mentioned the Taylor because we can only say these things like brighter and warmer in comparison to another thing, because by itself, it's quite bright. It's not dull in any stretch of the imagination, but it is warmer in comparison to a Taylor GS Mini. Okay, I want to comment on the look of this guitar. It's just beautiful. The wood grains and how they designed this guitar is so nice. The simplicity with just one white circle on the sound hole. It's matte. The back is it 2-piece? Yeah, it's a 2-piece back, but it's seamless, so you couldn't really see the seam on this guitar. Book matching is awesome. It has a worn look because it's for the streets. But although I think it looks perfect, I do think for functionality's sake, if you're gonna strum this guitar hard and often, you need some sort of pick guard here. Maybe a clear one, just to protect the finish of the guitar, because you're gonna scratch this easily. Now let's talk about the pickups. Let's talk about it plugged in direct, because for most people that would get this guitar, this is what you would use it for anyway, to be plugged in. Now, I gotta say, when we were looking at reviews of this guitar online, and I was listening to sound examples, for lack of a better term, it doesn't sound very authentic. You know that it's a pickup. It's an electric. It's not organic sounding. That's what I'm trying to say. It's always still better to use a mic when you record it, if you want to record a solo guitar album or whatever. But having said that, when you hear it plugged in through live speakers, it just comes alive. I mean, it cuts through anything. Now, when you're playing live, another big thing is cutting through the mix. I've mixed a few bands, and their acoustic guitars don't necessarily cut through the mix. You gotta EQ it heavily. It's just too much work, which is one of the things that I told my dad. You gotta get a legit guitar so that your guitar easily cut through the mix. It's good to go. It just sits in the mix. It has enough tone headroom to cut through the drums. Now, to give you context, when you set up your live sound, like stage piano, stage whatever, you want your instrument to cut through the drums, because that's really what you're mixing against most of the time, is the drums. The drums is very loud and requires a lot of headroom for your tone, so that whenever the drummer gets louder, you have enough tone to let you cut through the mix, or else you're not going to hear yourself. That's just the way it is. It is performance ready. They just thought of everything you would need if you're going to use it into a band in which they imagine this is what you're going to use it for anyway. We tried plugging it in a church, and it sounds phenomenal. It just sits right in the mix. You don't have to do anything with it. because it only has a piezo and doesn't have like a mic, when you tap it, the guitar doesn't pick it up. But anything with a string, now that can be a good thing or a bad thing again. For some people who likes to use their guitar as a cajon, the mic wouldn't pick up their tapping noises. But for those who just want to rock on, that's the advantage of this piezo pickup. Another reason why the piezo is a good idea, because when you're in a band, you don't want the other instruments, especially the drums, bleeding into your guitar signal. That's just a mixing nightmare. So overall, I love this guitar. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. There's a lack of bass, but I love the size, I love the design, I love the sound. It's good enough to record plugged in or through a mic. It's very comfortable to play, plays nicely, very easy to carry on, very easy to travel with. Now here are some sound examples to play you out. Now that's the Martin Dreadnought Jr. review. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified whenever a new video comes up. And thank you for your support. I hope to see you in another video. This is Japs, and I'll see you soon. Peace.